The first international cricket match. Cricket's oldest international rivalry is not England versus Australia, as many believe. That began in 1877, 33 years after a U.S. team played a Canadian team at Bloomingdale Park in Manhattan. This game-changing match predates the America's Cup by 7 years and is considered the oldest international athletic rivalry. Some debate the international status of the game. Even though the participants were mostly from two clubs, it was billed locally as a USA-Canada match. The match could have been played years earlier if an imposter, pretending to be the Toronto Cricket Club's secretary, George A. Philpotts, had been the real George Philpotts, and an actual match has been organized. But 4 years later, in 1844 at St. George's Club grounds, the match took place between the St. George Cricket Club, representing the United States of America, and the Toronto Cricket Club, representing Canada. On September 24th, when these two nations faced each other on the cricket field for the very first time, it wasn't just another game. It marked the beginning of international sports competitions as we know them today. As both teams prepare to revive their rivalry at the upcoming T20 World Cup kickoff, we are reminded of the enduring significance of this inaugural match. This video will shed light on this historic event's fascinating details, from who played to who won and why it still matters today. Get ready to explore how this one match not just changed the game of cricket, but it was a game changer for all international sports rivalries from then until today. History of cricket. Cricket took root in England by the late 16th century, blossoming into a well-established sport over 2 centuries. Southeast England saw the earliest definitive cricket matches around the mid-1500s, laying the groundwork for a game that would eventually captivate nations. As English explorers and colonizers traveled, they carried cricket with them, spreading this bat and ball game to distant lands and embedding it within various cultures worldwide. Naturally, cricket spread globally with the expansion of the British Empire into countries such as India, Australia, and the West Indies. Whilst cricket originated in England, it was brought to the US and Canada during the early settlement period. The sport gained popularity quickly, with both countries hosting their own local matches. Early cricket matches in North America. Early cricket matches in North America trace back to before the United States declared independence, showcasing how deeply embedded the sport was in the culture. Records from as early as 1709 highlight cricket's presence, pointing to a rich history of cricket development in the US and Canada. These games played a crucial role in shaping the traditions and rivalry seen in later years between these two nations. The origins of cricket in this region reflect not just an importation of British pastimes, but also an adaptation and growth unique to North American culture. Matches gradually evolved from informal gatherings into more organized competitions, laying the groundwork for future international contests. This period saw clubs form on both sides of the border, fostering a competitive spirit that would lead to the historic showdown between the US and Canada. Match day. The match could have been played 4 years earlier in 1840. An imposter, pretending to be Mr. George Philpotts, secretary of the Toronto Cricket Club, invited St. George's to play Toronto at a Lake Ontario location. A team of 18 New Yorkers representing St. George's made a long trip to Canada and arrived on August 28 to find the Toronto club unaware of the plan. Regardless, a friendly match was organized, and with a wager of $250, St. George's triumphed by 10 wickets in front of a good crowd. 4 years later, after establishing a genuine friendship, Toronto accepted a real invitation to play against St. George's in New York. The stake had been raised to $1,000, and the game was scheduled for September 24th and 25 at the St. George's Club grounds, located near 30th Street and Broadway, then Bloomingdale's, in Manhattan. Traveling south was taxing for the Canadians. They took a boat up the St. Lawrence River and over Lake Ontario to catch a train on the growing American rail network. The trains had no buffet carriages, so food was grabbed at sporadic stops. The historic inaugural international cricket showdown between the USA and Canada took place from September 24 to 26, 1844. This event marked a significant moment as Canada's cricket team had been touring the United States, setting the stage for this landmark match. St. George's Club Ground in New York became witness to cricket history. Teams from both countries competed with great spirit, attracting spectators and marking an important milestone in the development and promotion of cricket. This international competition not only celebrated sportsmanship, but also laid down a foundation for future matches between nations. This first match featured teams with talented and enthusiastic players. Like the United States, the Canadians tried to present a representative national team, rather than simply the Toronto CC team. Whether or not the Canadians managed to actually make it across Canada national team is unclear, but letters written between the clubs indicate the Canadian team may have included players from the Guelph Cricket Club and Upper Canada College Club as well as the Toronto Club. Advertisements and posters for the game found in libraries have the game as between the US and Canada rather than two city teams. On the first day of the match, September 24, 1844, betting was popular with a crowd of approximately 5,000. The match was expected to have drawn 100,000, or 2 million today. The game started at 11:40 am instead of 10 am because the teams were slow getting organized. Canada batted first and was bowled out for 82 mid-afternoon. Despite various criticisms of the USA's poor fielding, it was a respectable score given the conditions of the pitches. David Winkworth and Yorkshire-born Sam Wright and Harry Groom swapped wickets and scored 12. As the first dual international, Winkworth is intriguing. After coming to Detroit, he played for USA in 1846, after playing for Canada in the first 3 games against USA, 2 in 1845. USA batted after a 1-hour break for a late lunch, and despite extending their innings into a second day, they trailed by 18 in the first innings. After the second day was rained out, the match was rescheduled for September 26th. As Canada batted again, Winkworth, who had taken 4 wickets with rapid bowling, scored 14 runs as Canada made 63. USA were assigned a target of 82 to win, but their number 3, George Wheatcroft, was absent. The Canadians refused to let USA bat initially, sparking a passionate but brief disagreement. Eventually, the team reached an agreement, and the USA started their second innings, chasing 82 runs. The opening pair, James Turner and John Syme, started well, but George Sharp took 6 wickets for 11 runs from 25 overs. Although the tail wagged, USA scored 58, eventually losing by 23 runs. Wheatcroft eventually turned up, arriving 20 minutes after the last wicket had fallen. This first historic encounter went beyond runs and wickets. It celebrated shared passion and laid a foundation for international cricket's future. Legacy of the first international cricket match. The first international cricket match between the USA and Canada in 1844 fostered a lasting impact on the development of cricket in North America and influenced future international cricket matches. This historic event set the stage for a rivalry that has shaped the world of international cricket, marking an important milestone in the sport's ever-evolving history. This match between the United States and Canada in 1844 played a pivotal role in popularizing the sport across North America. This historic event paved the way for the growth of cricket, inspiring the formation of leagues and clubs in both countries. Cricket enthusiasts began to see their communities come together to enjoy and participate in the game, setting a solid foundation for its future development. This legacy has continued to shape cricket's landscape in the US and Canada, fostering a renewed interest and participation that persists today. The match not only highlighted cricket as a potential major sport, but also demonstrated how such international competitions could draw attention and engage fans from different regions. As cricket looks to enjoy a resurgence in North America with the Major League Cricket competition, This monumental showdown remains a significant milestone contributing to its popularity and significance. Influence on international cricket matches. Moving from the impact on cricket in North America, the 1844 USA versus Canada match also significantly influenced international cricket competitions. This historic showdown set a precedent for future international matches, demonstrating the potential for countries to come together and compete in this sport on a global stage. It marked the beginning of what would become a widespread tradition of international cricket. Cricket fans across continents now enjoy a calendar filled with exciting international tournaments that continue to shape the future of cricket. The ongoing attraction of large audiences to these events underscores the lasting significance and global legacy of that initial match between USA and Canada, proving its pivotal role in shaping modern-day cricket on an international level. Despite the shaky start with imposters and hoaxes, friendships, and a desire for competition saw this historical match eventually take place with Canada defeating the United States by 23 runs. This result was the beginning of a very successful tour of the United States by the Canadian cricket team. The impact of this historical match captured the imagination of sports fans and officials around the world and formed the basis for many international rivalries to begin in following years. This game of cricket was the origin of the concept of fiercely contested international sporting competitions that we enjoy today. Cricket fans around the world are amazed to discover that the international rivalries they love so deeply today begin in shaky circumstances. In the United States, in 1844, subscribe or share for more interesting and unique cricket and sports content. What match do you think was a game changer for your team, and why?